So, when you look at today's startup ecosystem, what excites you the most?
One of the things that excites me most is India has realized what it means to take risks. Why can't we give pure drinking water to every Indian who lives at least in cities and towns? How many startups are there in this area?
How critical are the government initiatives in shaping the current environment of startup today?
I think the government's intentions are good, but the implementation is not appropriate. It is not beneficial to startups which want to grow.
If you could give one line of advice to every founder, what it be?
Dream big. If you don't execute in time,
Good morning and a very warm welcome to our studio.
good morning to you too.
It's wonderful to have you here today. And to begin with, I would first take a couple of warm up questions. I would like to understand your insights on these. So, you have been, you have built institutions, you have mentored startups, and you have seen markets evolve. What's one common truth that connects all these successful ventures from your lens?
One thing is you like what you do. All the places that I worked, it never felt like work. Even though I would leave at 2 o'clock in the night or 2:30 in the night, it never felt at work. Like in Bombay Stock Exchange too, we had our data centers and the work would go on the weekends. And kabhi kabhi to whole night betna padta tha. So
Okay.
it is just the passion of work and to get know thing more, to meet people. And it is not an achievement done by one person. All work is done by teams. And yes, team leaders are important, but the team members also more important than the team leader himself.
So when you look at today's startup ecosystem, uh, fast, bold, sometimes reckless, what excites you the most and what worries you the most?
One of the things that excites me most is India has realized that what it means to take risks. The Indian youth have realized what means to take risks. The unfortunate problem is we have such a large population. People want to boast that we are the third largest ecosystem in startups in the world, etc. But due to which what's happened is there are too many people trying to compete for too little attention from the investors. So
Okay.
the excitement is there. There is also another problem. India does not have people who would like to provide risk capital. We have lots of businessmen.
Hmm.
They all want the returns very fast. I wish Indians could realize why the world has got startups, why the world's technology and the living standards have gone up, and why we are still lagging. For instance, someone was mentioning to me that why can't we give pure drinking water to every Indian who lives at least in cities and towns? I can understand there could be an infrastructure problem otherwise. How many startups are there in this area? Would the government not want its citizens to have clean, pure water to drink? It is still not there. Our government has done, for instance, the mission for toilets.
Yep.
They put made up toilets everywhere. That's the easiest part. The bigger part is how do you ensure that they are being used and they are working and it provides the benefits that it should provide. It's not. We were having done work in Africa. We installed water pumps because there was no water pumps,
Hmm.
so there
Hmm.
was groundwater.
Yeah.
And there is not much of a problem of overpopulation. Uh, it was a very good scheme. For first year, it ran very well. But the person who helped them, the contractor who wanted to work, they did not want to transfer the technology to them. So even if a nut goes away, because when you put the
Uh-huh.
hand pump, there is a pump that goes away.
Uh,
When the nut goes away, they are dependent on the contractors' people. And the scheme failed. Contrary to that, you look at India. There was a village where we didn't have water. So we installed a hand pump
hmm.
through one of the rotaries. So I was called Shankarji, let's do. I like research. So what I
Yeah.
do is I do before, after, I do parallel research, I do blindfold research, etc.
Hmm.
So they called me and Suddenly, the Rotary member, one of the Rotary members, was talking to those people. He heard that they would like a motor pump fixed because it's a trouble to pull the water up. And he announced it. And I went on the stage, and when they asked me to speak, I said, my advice to you is don't fix any motor. Even the villagers, I told them. They said, why? It will help us. It will reduce our problems and all.
Yeah.
I said,
Yes.
once you have a way to take out more water than necessary,
Mm.
you will end up taking that. The same thing happened. The motor was installed. 1 year later, the hand pumps didn't have enough water, and the people started complaining. So when you give something, you should give to make sure that they have a decent living standard, living style, life standard. But the moment you give more,
Mm.
then there is a problem. So today, the risk that I see is that we are not having adequate risk capital, and there are so many people who just want to do a startup because they've heard it. I think it requires to be tempered that if you want to do a startup, do these courses. Just listening to YouTube videos does not help. Yes,
Right.
there are, it's better than nothing, but they have to meet, they have to read books, they have to read case studies, and people have to be open. I have seen people who have done serial entrepreneurship or
Mm.
people who have made businesses. They don't talk about the 50 businesses that they failed in and the 51st business that they started. That is the only talk that they do. Like I myself have made so many mistakes, and I love to talk about my mistakes. The reason is if you talk about your mistakes, you are still on the ground. One doesn't have to think. Like many people ask me, why don't you go to Shark Tank? So I tell them two things. I say, I don't have enough money like the sharks have.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell them a statistics also. You look at the money that the sharks have invested in those companies, that much money I can also invest easily. The problem is
Interesting.
I can't show off that I have money.
Right.
And the second is the companies that come to the places there are only those companies whose someone is related to those startups. Like there will be a producer whose Bhatija is doing something and he would call
Mm.
them.
Mm.
So it's not a very transparent place. Only a few transparent things that happen in India and which I really love. And they are like, the exams for the IITs and IIMs. Whether you are a minister's son or whether you are a rickshawala's son, you have to give the same exam, you come to the same. Also, the interviews are given very less marks. So there cannot be any subjectivity based on your color, looks, caste, etc. The startup side also, we require to have a basic limit, like you should at least be a graduate, etc.
So my next question to you is, if you were to introduce yourself not as a CIO or an MD, but as a mentor to India's next generation of founders, how would you describe your role today?
First of all, I don't like the designation CIO. I have
Oh,
never
okay.
taken it until now. The reason is CIO is considered to be only operating the IT. Whereas I am a
Yes.
person who thinks of the IT architecture and the cyber security comes foremost. But I do not want to take the designation CISO also because the responsibilities are very high. Responsibilities means that you are more worried about compliance than actually worried about security.
Hmm.
So designation wise, I don't like any of the designation. I just want a designation which is general. People call me president, people call me director, etc. So that is one thing. You said that instead of being called as one of those designation, what would you like? I
Yes.
think people should just think of me as an entrepreneur and someone who supports the entrepreneurs. One of
Okay.
the reasons is even while I was working, I never thought of myself as an employee. And luckily, fortunately, I've always worked with the top management or the
Hmm.
owners of companies. So during my whole career, and I found that once you think that you are part of that entrepreneurship, then you're just working for yourself. Money does not matter at all because whatever you earn after you get the degrees that you have, you will always get better than other people. The reason is somehow, some reason, IIT, IIM guy, that also IIT
Huh.
Bombay, IIM Ahmedabad, is considered to be more knowledgeable, more hardworking in India or abroad. It may be true statistically, but I think anyone can work hard, anyone can think like an entrepreneur. But the employers also need to pay the money based on the qualities that the person brings to the table and uses. I think the employers don't pay uh, they pay everyone the same amount. So if you're paying the same amount, for instance, in a bank,
Uh-huh.
I happened to address some people who had joined the bank recently, and I asked them about the salary. The HR stood up and said, "We give them the same salary for the first year when we take them from college." So I said, "Did you take them from one college?" No, no, we take from other
Hmm.
colleges and we take various grades. I said, if someone who is 10th in some college
Hmm.
and someone has the rank of 100, if
Huh.
they get the same salary, what do you think of the motivation? Or someone from IIM gets the same salary as someone from, say, a local college.
Huh.
What do you think will happen? And this just smiled and kept quiet because in India, we do not care much. We just have become that sabko ek saath do, sab chal jayega. At the
Okay.
same time, I can still understand that if you do something different for different people, people may think that you've done because you know him, you are connected to him.
Hmm.
And that is the problem everywhere in the world. It's not only in India. You go abroad, you will see that someone connected becomes a leader
Right.
better than
Right.
others. The owner's son is always considered to be more knowledgeable than whatever highly qualified professional in any organization.
But interesting thoughts which you had. I think I love that you also for calling an entrepreneur to you, and uh, maybe next time when we meet and when we talk about it, I will also introduce you two as an entrepreneur. So, but being an entrepreneur also is, I think, a different challenge. So I would love to talk about that. So I would take a slight diversion here, and I want to kind of understand the original story of who you are. So let's rewind a bit from where you were in the telecom sector to your leading to BSC's investment arm. What led to your interest in the startup space or the entrepreneurship?
While I started working, I was just thinking like employee who pagar milta hai and we did. But fortunately, I got into a very good team. And in my first company itself, I was part of the team that actually wanted to do something for the whole group. So we had a engineer, we had a CA, it's a cross-functional team. And we saved a huge amount of money for the group by trying to get efficiencies and synergies. That gave me a thought. This is a field no one looks at. Why? Because an engineer remains an engineer.
Hmm.
A management graduate remains thinking that he is a management graduate. An IT person thinks he's only an IT person. And they all excel in their fields. But I realize that the saying that jack of all, master of none
Huh.
is a wrong saying. In today's world, where computers or the net or the any IT system like AI, cloud, etc., has become an essential part of it. So one has to be cross-functionally trained. A salesperson has to understand what happens in operations. An operations person has to understand what happens in logistics,
Hmm.
especially it's a TPL or someone else is doing. If you don't know that, there is a problem. Since I learned that, and the president and the MD who guided me, they said, Shankar, if you want to become CEO, because that was the dream that you become a CEO of someone else's company,
Hmm.
you have to understand these various things. And he also guided me one. He said, if you are unlikely to go into any particular area, do that now, because later on you will not do that. So they got me involved in union related things. They got me involved in manufacturing, processes,
Hmm.
design. I've done all that in my first company and second company,
Wow.
which is why luckily whenever I got a choice, I go back and reflect back and I find that even handling unions, even in BSc we have a union. I've been handling with them. You can ask any union. They always talk to me thinking I'm part of them. Maybe because I speak Marathi, because I come from similar backgrounds that they have. That is one. The IT people, after my IIT, I started as a help desk engineer. We had some time before
Hmm.
we studied, I
Huh.
started as a help desk. As a help desk engineer, I understood what the problems were. I went to management. That time, the zamana was of floppy disks of that
Yes.
1.44 ka bhi nahi aaya tha. That earlier
3.5
one,
inches.
3.5 inch wala. And I saw all that. in all my career during IIT as well as IIM, we worked on uh, punch card based system, Russian system
Yes, that type.
EC1030. I used to love that machine. In fact, in IIT, I took up electronics and electrical engineering instead of taking computer
Uh-huh.
science, which I could have got if I had applied.
Hmm.
One reason only. I liked hardware much more than the software directly.
Okay.
Because without knowing the hardware software, in fact, I call computer science engineers sometimes that you are not supposed to be called engineers. You have a computer science course, but
Okay.
engineering means you have to touch, feel, etc., etc.
Uh,
And I realized I'm good at it. So even in IIT, they made me work on computers all the time. All professors' work I used to do. So when we got the one of the world's two supercomputers that time, there was a Cray supercomputer given to IITB. I used to spend time over there. I think I must have used it maximum as compared to any student in IIT at that time. I used
wow.
to run simulations on electronic circuits. I used to do projects on manufacturing integrated circuits. We used to have, that time microwaves was not heard of. We used to make microwave chips. In fact, the government of India and the IIT Bombay
Huh.
gave me some 20, 30 grams of gold to run my project. I don't know how many grams exactly. I think it was
Okay.
20. But we etched those chips. It was good to see your microwaves running that time, the chips working. And fortunately, when Reliance offered me, I was implementing SAP solutions that time and in a multinational. And Reliance offered me a position which I thought is one of the most revolutionary products at that time. We wanted to connect the whole of India. It was one of the largest telecom project. And I still remember I was working in a multinational company and I was using the latest gadgets because being in the highest management level that you will be, I left that just because Mr. Manoj Modi, who is one of the persons working with Mukesh Ambani, they say that they're very close. In fact, Mukesh Ambani has just gifted him some 1,500 crore or plus worth of house as a birthday gift. And such a nice man. He's very strict. And I think you should always have a strict boss at some point of time in life to understand how to be disciplined. And he's very, very, one thing that you will learn from him is keep your word.
Okay.
Even if you made a mistake, keep your word. I have learned that all through my life. We set up that whole network and we realized this will create wonders for India.
Hmm.
In fact, we were thinking that we will be adding 1 percentage point to the GDP growth rate.
Wow.
I think it has been more than 2 percentage points adding to the GDP growth rate because of the IT technology. And I'm so glad that I'm part of the technology field since the beginning, from punch card to supercomputers,
Ah,
from nothing as a security to the levels of cybersecurity that we achieve. And today we are going into AI.
yes. Yes.
Unfortunately, the only problem with AI I see, or the biggest problem with AI is that security is still not available in that side.
Okay. So interesting. I think the journey which you talked about is very interesting. That's, I think we could see that core interest coming in and where it is coming in. You know, it's the inception which you had, your right bosses, your right mentors, and your journey. As you said, you were able to kind of bring that 2% of GDP towards India. I think that's crazy. Matlab. And we thank you because I believe that people like you are already a hero and the world should know about it. The Indians should know about it. And well, you did a lot of stint, but the passion which you have for doing something, and also, as you said, even if I have made mistakes, I have announced it, I've committed to it, and I made sure I have improved on that. That's really a
So one of the
superhero.
requests I'm going to make is don't call me a hero. I'm just a common man who tries to do something and yes, succeeds many times more than other people because I'm quite persistent. I know when to give up and
So that's your
when to take.
humbleness.
So I'm just a common man who's trying to do something. Thank you.
Great, sir. So my next question to you is, having taught at NM and IITs and IIM and mentored thousands of students, what's the one mindset shift you will try to instill in the young entrepreneurs?
I've been to IITs and IIMs and even other colleges. The younger generation today thinks that they can achieve many things very quickly. They
Okay.
require patience. They require to study. See, people go ahead on the shoulders of others who have come before us. you cannot be alone and try to become a giant.
Hmm.
All giants have always climbed the other giants and they've grown further and further. The younger generation does not have that understanding or patience, is what I've seen. All the time they think, I can innovate. See, younger generation can innovate much faster than the older generation. That I can take. Statistically speaking, the younger you are,
Hmm.
the more wild thoughts you can get. Your imagination can run. You don't have biases. You can do many things.
Right.
Unfortunately, you still require guidance
Agree.
because
Agree.
those things have to happen. And the younger generation resists it. I have seen in the startups that I mentor, many times they put things which may not be beneficial to the organization. So we have to make sure. I am a judo student. So what I do is I direct them, okay, we'll do this, but
Haha.
that will be one part and let's do the other part. And slowly, slowly they realize their own folly when you put in money and it goes away. The whole idea in a startup is that money should be conserved. At the same time, the essential things that require to be done, you have to spend money on that. For
Right.
instance, in the startup, people are unaware if you're doing, say, marketing.
Hmm.
The customers have to be aware. So there's lots of awareness expenditure that you have to do.
Right.
For
Right.
instance, for
Right.
a FMCG goods,
Now.
something that you're selling as foods in retail. But if there is something like an IT, you really don't require to advertise much. But what you
Hmm.
require is you have to go and meet the IT stalwarts, the decision makers, and show them your product. They will give you guidance. The younger people get disheartened very easily if you tell them that this is incorrect and that may not be liked by the customer. They have to come out of their emotions. But I still remember myself as a 25-year-old, and I compare with today's 25 years old. That today's 25-year-old has more understanding. They learn faster. At the same time, the respect for the elders is much lesser than what we had during our
Yeah.
time. We overdid it. Even if someone is telling us that some person flew to the moon or sun,
Yes.
we believed it. But today's generation doesn't believe it. So
Right.
that's good.
Right. Right.
At the same time, they should know that someone can do something better.
Better. Very interesting, sir. Very interesting. So, riding on that thought, how do you see the evolution of India's startup ecosystem from the funding winters which we had to the unicorn booms?
See, whenever something happens, it is not a straight line. Let's be understanding that.
Yeah.
It is always going to go up and down, up
Hmm.
and down.
Hmm.
When it goes up and down, you will have something which is like a funding winter, and
Uh-huh.
you will have robustness where people will bet on anything. So it's always
Okay.
a cycle. So there's
Like,
nothing wrong. This is a normal cycle. At the same time, remember, the funding winter was not because we had over invested. It was because the ideas were almost like copycat ideas. There was nothing new. And most of the people who start new companies don't realize one simple fact. The fact is, out of 100 companies, startups that are there, 90 are likely to fail
hmm.
surely. Remaining 5 or 10, 5 may do somewhat positive and they will continue for years and decades. There are 5 which will shine, which will grow, and they'll become unicorns. So you can see the results. Like today, we have more than 100 plus or 120 plus unicorns in India. But that's only valuation. If you ask me, what is the impact it has had on the world?
Would love to hear that. Yeah.
And I will feel very sad that Indian company startups,
Startups.
like one of our ministers had said, are more interested in making money than actually make an impact. So you will have delivery within 10 minutes. You will have certain food coming to your place and making you unhealthy rather than any, say, for instance, deep tech startups.
Yeah.
India has been accused that we have got so many bright minds, but we don't have deep tech startups. Now, deep tech startups require someone to fund you
Mm-hmm.
through all the hard work. And sometimes after 10 years also,
Yes.
you will not achieve anything. How many people are willing to put in money for 10 years, 15 years, run the startup, and yet allow it to be doing new things? In India, we don't have that ecosystem. It will not come also. Because if you have people who look at return on investment before understanding what is happening, I don't think we are going to achieve. So we require people who support these entrepreneurs where they can continue to support even if it doesn't make money. And that's where, as I said, I would like to be one of the support for entrepreneurs. Until
Okay.
now, I have supported so many.
Mm-hmm.
no money taken, no investments taken. I only when I realize that yes, this is likely to make money. If the promoter gets money, I should get. In fact, one
Yeah.
of the principles of my life has been treat people like me. So I tell people, if you give me the same chai that you drink
Hmm.
and I get the same chai, I have no issues at all. I think that's a fair thing. But if you say because I am a little elite, so
Ah.
I'll drink this type of coffee, whereas you drink normal chai, I would not appreciate it. So I
Very
tell the
right.
entrepreneurs that if I'm supporting you, I'm
Very right.
part of your team. I am not your employee. I am not your contractor. Some of them have offered me. They said, sir, especially multinational companies,
Hmm.
they do. I suddenly met someone in the Southeast Asia. Some entrepreneurs I met just last weekend,
Okay.
not weekend, weekdays, last week. And they offered me, saying, sir, we will pay you commission. We'll give you 50% commission on sales and all. I said, I'm not interested in that. I'm not here to become your chief marketing officer or marketing officer for India or something.
Ah.
That you take an employee, he will do it for your brand. If I am there, I will be part of your system. I will be part entrepreneur like you. I will get sweat equity. If you don't want to get sweat equity, we'll arrange that commercial money you can do.
Hmm.
Like the famous example of the Mistry family,
Ah.
Chapurji and Palenji,
Yes.
how they took money in Tata Sons. I am willing to bet on you. I am giving my
Ah.
time. I don't require money at this age of my life. I have already achieved many milestones that I want to do. I am more interested in creating something that will last longer. It will generate employment. It will create something not only for the country, because I am fortunate I've been brought up in this country, but I want to do it for the whole humanity and the whole ecosystem. Even the dogs and cats that work with us, they also want a better standard of living.
So
So
as you talked about country, right, and supporting it. So how critical are the government initiatives of the startup India or the digital India in shaping the current environment of startup today?
I think the government's intentions are good, but
Okay.
the implementation is not appropriate. The way it is implemented, it is not beneficial to startups or even small companies which want to grow. Because everywhere you are going to pass them through a sieve. When startups are there, what do they need? They have left their jobs or any other employment that they could get and they're starting.
Hmm.
So they require funding without asking questions.
Right.
We don't give them that. We ask them to meet milestones. Those milestones, if you see, are such a large milestone that 80% of the startups will never get a single rupee of the funding there. So they are good
Hmm.
schemes, but they are meant not for startups, but for companies which have reached a certain stage. Like in
Okay.
startups, there are various stages.
Wait, yes.
You have to get the first sale,
Yes.
then you have to
Yes.
make the first cash profit,
Correct.
etc.
Correct. Correct.
The government schemes are not for the startups of those side. The
Hmm.
government schemes are more for companies that have run for some time. And I would say they are micro, they already reached a stage of micro
Small
rather than
scale.
small size.
Hmm.
Micro and small is what would say.
But
So
better.
there, the government schemes are very good.
Okay. Okay.
And the second is it tries to help the employers by giving them money, but doesn't help the entrepreneurs. So there's a
Okay.
difference between an entrepreneur and employer.
Employer. But then, glad you brought this point. So, entrepreneur and employer are two key things. But then, I think there is this one line which we say founders. So, you want to take that as a third segment? Founders, entrepreneurs, and employers, or founders are entrepreneurs? What would be your take?
I'll give you an example. See, what happens is in India, the person gets a job that he can get best. Like suppose you are from a good institution like IIT, you'll get
Huh.
a better paid job in a larger company or more bigger company
Hmm.
or a well-known company. Whereas if you are not, you will get in some small company. What these founders or entrepreneurs, I treat them similarly because I'll
Okay.
tell you why. What they do is they try to employ people.
Huh.
They try to employ people with a very low salary. Now, if I am suppose one of the IT developers for some tech company,
Huh.
and if I get a few thousand rupees salary in that company, and which is a similar salary which I get in, say, any of the big companies like TCS or any other company, why would I work for this entrepreneur?
Hmm.
That's the first question. Second, the entrepreneur knows that he's in entrepreneurial stage, so his office will be very different. There will be no benefits like, a canteen or certain systems will not be there.
Yeah.
Which means that employee also is sacrificing some kind of standard to be with you. There is no compensation in terms of equity or anything. Most of the founders don't want to give. There are various reasons they will say.
Okay.
And I've seen where the founders or entrepreneurs give equity. I'm not saying give it to the chaiwala, but give it to the senior, at least people who have started from beginning.
Yeah.
Like one of the companies which I was fortunately a founding member, though I had to get out of it because I took on the job of Bombay Stock Exchange. So this is before I quit. I took his permission and joined Bombay Stock Exchange. So what he did is he gave these shares to the employees at the senior level. And I don't know the exact numbers now, or I do not want to divulge. So I'll just give you a little representative numbers.
Okay.
He issued the stocks options, unlisted company, at 50 rupees a share at a certain level. So people at that time thought it's my money getting stuck. So what he did is, instead of giving them extra bonus, voluntary performance bonuses, he put that money as the stock options.
Okay.
And somebody here, in 5 years' time, he said, okay, I'll do a buyback of those shares because it's an unlisted company, so only the entrepreneur will be useful.
Yes.
And he bought it at 2,000 rupees. So some of the people who were working with him, they got more money through these
stock options
shares as compared to their salary while they were working there. But they didn't want to give because they were hoping for more. So when I met some of them, because I was still connected, I told them, do one thing. Don't feel bad. And even my friend also told them, we don't know whether we will have the same spirit 5 years hence, 10 years hence. We may never buy back. At least encash something. So all our investors also, we tell the same thing. We've got a large set of investors where I advise. I tell them, don't keep your eggs and think that you'll get your babies. So many investors invest in shares. And I told you, they keep on liking it. They say, this is a good company, I'll keep. I said, you have to do profit booking. If you don't do profit booking, there is a problem.
Right.
I told you, there is always an up and down cycle.
Yes.
So every company, every sector, it will have some uptime, some downtime. Whenever there is downtime, you sell off, you buy again. I know taxes have to be paid, but that have to be paid. If you made profits, you should pay.
Yeah.
But you should do this churning once in a while, not regularly, not like TV show you every second. But once in a while means a few months, or suddenly some news come, you should do.
Yeah. We'd like to move to the very next segment. I'm calling it Futures of Startups in Bharat 2.0. When we talk of future of startups, and where do you see the next big opportunity emerging? Either it is the rural tech, it is the climate tech, a health tech, or a fintech.
First of all, if anyone would know it, they would become billionaire, trillionaires. So world over, people do not understand. They only take their chance. They see where the world is going and they go ahead with it.
Okay.
The second question, the second part I want to mention is, why do you call it fintech, regtech, climate tech? Tech is a given. Today, nothing in the world can work without technology. The other part of the technology is whether it is IT or non-IT.
Okay.
That could be one question. But there also, most of the things, like you look at assisted childbirth, like IVF, etc., they use technology. You have to identify the ova and the sperms and do all that. So there is technology, both IT side, non-IT side, because you have to use robots. I am a director in a manufacturing company. We use industry robots for many years, and they're very smart robots. They're so fast that my servers have to be kept on the same floor nearby rather than keep somewhere else because the latency becomes very high.
Oh,
so
very interesting.
Today technology is everywhere. You sit at a home, you have an air conditioner. It works only on a PCB. There is a circuit inside. Your washing machine has a circuit inside. Your cooking machine, stove has a circuit. So tech is everywhere. I also want to answer that question in another way. Instead of looking at technology, look at what is the area where someone is willing to spend money. Because धंधा करना है तो customer को क्या need है, which many of these startups are not aware of. They think AI का बस चल रहा है, चलो AI के नाम से कुछ भी बनाओ. You
Hmm.
find out what is required and give. For
Yeah.
example, there is a one startup I'll give you.
Okay.
They realize everything is happening in delivery today. And people are talking of 10 minutes delivery.
Yes. Yes.
So there's a startup which has come up that the delivery will be given by drones. And they've got permission from the city and aviation people.
Hmm.
And that's how they can give very complicated things also in 10 minutes and 1 hour. It's still in the startup stage and it's running,
Yes.
it's making
Yes.
money. Many banks have got it. Many fast delivery guys have taken their services. It will improve maybe multiple times, I would say hundreds of times at least, if not thousands.
Okay.
And there is enough scope for people like you still coming into that line too.
Wow. So as you took this point of I think my next question is, how will AI and data privacy laws influence how startups build products?
See, government is going to force, and it is correct to maintain privacies. It is the government of India is still learning. The other governments in the world also are learning. Europe has been the first with GDPR. It has been quite successful. It is more than what was estimated. Unfortunately, India's DPDP Act is still stuck in various things. And there is a problem with the DPDP Act in India. It gives an exemption to the government, which is not correct. In fact, I tell many people that if I go to US, I don't mind giving them any information about me because if something goes wrong, I can sue the government and earn millions.
Right.
The same thing is not valid in India's DPDP Act. The principal whose data is lost or defaulted on doesn't get anything. So that is the problem. But privacy is very important. The main problem with AI is it does not give you the source. So whoever's created something or where you're taken from is not known. Unknowingly, you are going to work on copyrighted material and there will be questions again. So that is the first part. Second, a creator taking help of AI to create his creation, say for instance, a song, a music, or a video, or a speech, or a write-up. Who does the license belong to, the copyright belong to? The AI vendor whose AI you are using, the creator who you are using, or the hardware vendor whose hardware you use.
Right.
So it's a very big, tough task. The reason why I'm saying is there have been cases where some software or hardware can be used to kill another person, for instance. In which case, would you say the software hardware maker should give, like, I'll give an example of automated vehicles, driverless vehicles. If there's an accident, normally the driver is held responsible. Even if the equipment is at fault, the judge looks at the ratio and can do it. But in case of driverless vehicles, who is at fault? The customer who bought the vehicle, the company who sold the vehicle, the software vendor, the updates, they will all change over a period of time. So it is a very difficult task, but privacy should be maintained.
Right. But interesting, I think when we talk of AI and when we talk of data privacy, so one crucial point which you mentioned is that you're already working on a copyrighted material. So with that lens, I think startups who are working on the space of AI, and if it is a true AI, if they're really doing a deep tech startup, then that can be a very different case. But then if there is a AI startup which is kind of consuming other AI models, they need to really look forward to how can that be really handled very well so that they at least earn value, while earning value, earn revenues also for them.
See, first I'll tell you, a small startup is no threat to anyone.
Okay.
Even if they violate many laws which are not criminal in nature, people will not bother. Suppose someone uses the word of a famous company, say XYZ, and starts it up. No one is going to be bothered. Only when it becomes successful that there will be a threat. And they will be told you have misused our name, copyright, etc., etc. So most of the startups, as I told you, more than 95% will not really go up. So it doesn't matter to them.
Yeah,
but those who become
always.
successful, they have to be worried about what they're doing.
What they're doing.
So AI is being used today as a shortcut. It's not being used as a support. If it was being used as a support, there would be no issues. So a creator or someone who's going to use something, they can take the help from AI, but they should do their own research. So you will find lots of people use AI to get the basic idea, and then they use the normal search or normal things and actually create something on their own. Like for instance, writing books. Today, if you want to write a book, I don't think you're required to do anything. You can ask the AI, please write a book of 500 pages on this topic for me or this story for me. They'll write. In fact, some of the stories written in China and which have become very famous, especially in science fiction, you will just wonder who can think of it. But there are people who are thinking because Asians have very wild imaginations. That's why we have lots of creatives. Unfortunately, Asians don't know how to utilize that to make, like for instance, US, the highest exports it does is contrary to what you think. The highest exports, the money that they earn is through movies, media, the shows, etc. Almost all popular shows in India are
Mm-hmm.
based on models created by them. Like Kaun Banega Crorepati is one of the models that they have done. India's Got Talent, it is their models. Earlier times, because there was no communication, if someone went abroad, listened to some music or went to some story, they would put that in our movies and they would become famous. That time people didn't realize it was plagiarism.
Mm.
But today, everyone knows this whole song is based on this song. This whole movie is based
Yes.
on this movie. So today we have to be careful. And I think AI falters there for creative people. But if you are using AI as a support tool for your manufacturing, for instance, then it will really help you.
Great. Great.
So you should use AI for all non-creative stuff at least.
At least. Nice take there, sir. So, in just 3 words, how would you describe the future of Indian entrepreneurship? Just
I,
three,
the
if you
future of
could.
Indian entrepreneurship is going to be very, very uh, radical.
Radical.
Up to now,
Okay.
entrepreneurs,
Can we say very, very radical? Three
I'll tell you
words.
why.
Okay.
Up to now, the businessmen who run businesses
Mm-hmm.
are not techies. I don't know whether you know. Can you show me any technology family which are technologically oriented? I know Mukesh Ambani studied engineering for some time, so I know that.
Hmm.
But how many other people have done? Very few. They've got professionals who are techies. So entrepreneurs who are techies are going to grow such a large number. I'll give you another example. For instance, we have the income tax department.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many engineers are there in income tax department today versus say 20 years back? You'll be surprised. It's almost taken over by engineers.
Oh.
Finance area is completely taken over. The reason is technology is going to be all pervasive. There is also a talk going that boards will require to have at least one person with a technology degree, not only being aware. Like we have got a woman
Yes.
director. So that is first thing that will happen.
Wow.
Second is today people feel technology only support function. No, technology will become essential. It is the atma of any business. You look at the edtechs. Today, education through technology is the prime way people learn. You go to even places like IITs or IIMs, they will have. In fact, they were the first pioneers to use technology to use in education.
Oh,
And
interesting.
I think that is the biggest chance they will have. Second, even now people believe that return on investment in
Huh.
the next few quarters is more important. The Western world has understood that return on investment in the next few quarters is not as important as a long-term return on investment. We call
Okay.
total cost of ownership, total
Yes.
return, etc.
Yes.
Indian entrepreneurs have earlier known. That's why you have these business families
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
Birlas and others. But the new entrepreneurship people in between, when they came, the new generation, they missed that out. So today, we'll have to look at long term. I told you people don't want to take risk over long term. That's why we don't have deep tech startups in India. We don't have people. The government has given funds for say quantum computing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes.
Who are the committee members? Just check.
Interesting points which you have put across. I think it's enlightening there for startups to understand and the future entrepreneurs to understand how they could evolve with the landscape which we have for. So our next segment is quick fire. As a quick fire is like a rapid fire, and I'll ask you certain question, give you an option. You just have to select an option. That's it. That's how we would do this. So, and I hope you win the hamper with that. So the first one it's coming to you is startup valuations, overhyped or justified.
Overhype.
Founders should raise fast or build slow.
I think sometimes you require very fast, sometimes you require slow. So it depends on the case by case
Okay,
basis.
case by case basis. Okay. Pitch deck or profit sheets.
I think the statements are more important than the pitch. Pitches may be incorrectly put.
Profits. Okay.
Profits.
India's biggest startup strength. Is it talent, cost, or resilience?
Resilience.
Coming from you, it means a lot. Would you invest in a startup without a co founder?
No. Team play is very important in any startup.
Could you, if you could, give one line of advice to every founder, what it be?
Dream big and implement. Execution is the key. If you don't execute in time, for instance, in wealth management, we look at we tell people if you just miss one installment in the initial years,
Mhm.
it has an effect as much as 20% drop in your returns.
That's interesting. I think glad and thank you for your rapid fire answers. Before we come to the very closing segment, uh, I would just like to take 1 minute to understand when you have seen industries, various verticals, and you have been kind of talking to all the industry leaders out there. Do you feel that the Indian startup founders or the founders who are to become an entrepreneur should learn from some Indian leader? Who would that leader be?
I
Or
don't
a,
believe in idol worship.
okay.
A person can really do many, many things and you can actually like the person, but you should not believe that 100% of the things done by that person are correct. Because we are all humans, we make small
Hmm.
mistakes and we should just tolerate, we should allow the mistakes to be there. But if they want to learn, I think they should learn how startups grow, how companies grow, how countries grow. In fact, Indians have this problem. We are, last few years, I'm seeing the mindset is instead of going toward technology, they are going somewhere else. We have to target it against towards technology. Look at what China has done.
Mm-hmm.
They've ensured that people study what is new, not what is the past. Past is only to be a measure to understand what happened. But future, we are a very relatively young country. We
Yes.
got independence in
Yes.
1947. It's just 75 years. You look at US, you look at Europe, they have been free for more than 200, 2, 3 centuries. India has got such a future. People will just get surprised because we have got diversity. There are lots of things that we can do. And we have shown it, like in the white revolution. I think India can show it in the tech revolution further. And wish you all the best. Thank you.
Yeah. What does success mean to you today? I would like to ask you this in a point where you have been working with a lot of startups, you mentor a lot of startups, you are a director at a lot of other companies there. From your lens, if our audience, if our viewers have to understand, what does success mean to you?
Younger, success was totally different. Like, I was thinking of being a CEO of someone else's company, a large company, etc. But many decades back, in fact, I realized that's not so important. No one cares whether you are CEO of XYZ company, which was in the top 10 or 20. People remember the first one or two.
Mhm.
You don't have to be. We are just ordinary human beings with a certain lifespan. The active lifespan is, say, 60, 70 years. After that, normally people are expected not to work. There are some exceptions which work above 70, 70, 75, but they do work. We are going to die. After death, only a few family members, close family members will remember you for some days, months, years. After that, no one is going to bother about you. And you yourself will not know what people are speaking about you or think about you because once you are dead, I don't believe anything exists.
Okay.
So one has to live a life which you enjoy. So even now, I believe, and earlier also, last few decades, I only do what I think is, if I give my word, I always keep my word. Second, like a child, normally people, when they become adult,
Mhm.
it's the child's simplicity that is what is important. So like you, like anyone else, I also enjoy when I do a project, I start with something and I achieve my benchmarks. Like for instance, if a startup is there, we want to achieve a scale of XYZ, we
Mhm.
achieve that, it becomes good. I like one more thing, to create something new in this world which makes it better rather than harm it. Like for instance, when people talk about frugal living,
Hmm.
don't do frugal living, but I have done some few things. I want to reduce the bad effect on environment by my actions. So as I was telling you, I normally don't ask for bottled water. Wherever possible, I drink non-bottled water.
Hmm. Hmm.
At home, I ask people to give me things where I don't want them to give extra packaging. Unfortunately, in the delivery system, the packaging has become, but companies have taken very good stance, and instead of
Yes.
making it attractive and marketing oriented, they use very simple packaging.
Yes.
That's very good. But success means that you live a life which is fulfilled. You are happy at the end of the day. Yes, you have some small mistakes you have made, big mistakes you have
Hmm.
made. You have normal regrets. There are some people who don't like to have regret. There is one song in Hindi movies which I heard when I was very young, but my
Okay.
father used to hear. मैं जिंदगी का साथ निभाता चला गया. It's a
Very
very
nice song.
famous song. And Hindi movies have really scripted our thinking quite a lot as compared to today's movies. Next generation doesn't see movies as I'm a movie fan. In fact, I started a club called Movie A Day Club, Mad Club in IIM Ahmedabad,
Oh,
which is
okay.
still running.
Wow.
And we used to watch the movies every day.
And that's called MAD, Movie
Mad,
or Day
Mad Club
Club.
in IIM. And I
Nice.
got to know that it is still running. Of course, now the
Very
format has
nice.
changed because that time there were VHS cassettes and other
Right,
things.
right, right.
Even now, I run schemes like books. We have some companies which pass on every month or two. We give one book to someone and we request them to read and post what they learned from it, etc. I am associated with people who give free books to school libraries because we believe that the children don't have books. In fact, most of our businessmen don't realize. I wish each businessman gives me some support, and I will make sure that books are available free everywhere.
A very interesting insight, I think, and very good takeaway for startups for success. I think the mantra which you gave us is have persistent, make sure resilience stays, be patient, and always make sure the project which you do, if it works, if it delivers to you, that's success. It can be short term, it can be long term, but so interesting to know from you your style of working, your backdrop which was there, and behind the screen things which you could share, and the examples were very awesome and amazing. And thank you for coming here today and talking with us and sharing your knowledge, a bit of your knowledge. We would love to have you here once again on a different set of topics there. But startups and wealth management and finance is what we have seen you in this lens. I'm sure post this, people will be aware that you are an entrepreneur by heart. And all the best to you for your future ventures and entrepreneurship, sir.
Thank you very much. In investment sector also, we make lots of money. We make more than the benchmarks, but that is also dependent on the luck that you have. So
Yes.
people also have to do that. But luck comes to people who persevere. Thank you very
Persevere.
much. Wish you all the best and have a nice day.
Thank you for tuning into our podcast. If this episode inspired you, do share it with someone who should hear this. Do like, share, and follow our channel for more heroes like this.